Going live. I'm live. Jumping right into it. Fix my hair. It's eccentric. Balding. Horrible. So, let's see. When I was a kid, I was a missionary kid to parents who are non-denominational Christians that worked for a mission organization. And so there's preacher's kids, and they're referred to as PKs. Like Katy Perry is a preacher's kid, so she'd be a PK. Jessica Simpson is a preacher's kid, so she'd be a PK. But I was called an MK. And there was a conference in Papua New Guinea. And an Australian said, "What do you call yourself?" And I said, MK. And he was just dumbfounded. He said, "What do you call yourself? What? An MK?" And he said it several times. So I repeated several times. I was probably 8 years old. And then he just walked off laughing. He couldn't believe that any child would call themselves an MK, or that their parents would allow it, or anything. So, and I have 2 scars. You can see that one. This is kind of, the hair is overgrown on it. I have scars on my eyebrows with prefrontal cortex damage, which is necessary in becoming a MK Ultra super soldier with alternative personas. I don't have alternative personalities. I'm not a crazy person, but I do have alters. I have MK Ultra alters. So I had the scar, and this one, my parents said I was running around outside and I found a tin can, tuna tin can, and it busted it open. And yeah. So he looked at the scar and said, yeah. That was about it. He didn't say anything. He just stared at my scar before walking off. Then life happened. My parents arranged for a couple to write the New Testament Bible at the tribe, the village I was living with. And we went back to America, where I lived in Georgia for a year, just outside of Atlanta, in a place called Red Oak. And then the mission organization is headquartered in Orlando, so we moved to Orlando. I made friends with a group called FAYD, Fun American Young Dudes. They were a bunch of skaters. This was pre Jackass. I think Jackass actually based themselves off of us doing lunatic stuff. But before I graduated high school, they were all dead or moved out of the state. They did crazy stuff. But one of the things everyone was doing was LSD, which I believe was being fed to them through a brain research facility here in Orlando. So I was taking LSD for a little while, and I went to the wrong guy who turned out to be a narc, and I got busted for buying LSD on school property 4 or 5 times before getting busted. So it wasn't a major thing. And I went to after school programs, did community service at a church, and I went to a state penitentiary where I saw some giants, literal giants, that the screws, the wards, whatever they're called, the prison guards would give them small Hispanics to play with. That's about as far as I'll go into it. Huge giants, like just giants. There's a room in the state penitentiary. 2 floors with a large open space, and the giants would walk around in this large open space, and they had 4-inch bulletproof glass, so you could see the whole thing. There was no bars on the cells or anything. They just had their rooms and a walking space, and they would be given non-compliant prisoners from general population to do with as they pleased, and that would break the spirit, the soul, the rebellion of that individual. Because I know this distinctly because I met one of them, and he had to leave the group's DNA on his body for 72 hours before it was verified that they had all taken advantage of him, and he was returned to general population. So that, I was 15. I decided to never go to prison in the state of Florida. That's for sure. I think I was an exception. I think they showed it to me, and they weren't supposed to show that to me. Yeah. So after that, life continued to happen. I worked a lot. Worked at Chick-fil-A, was my first real job. Did car washing. Volunteered, worked on HUD homes, roofing. Went to the Bahamas for vacation once. That was fun. Went to Antigua. I've only been to the Puerto Rican airport. I'd like to go to Puerto Rico someday. Yeah. Went to Disney a lot. Went to Universal Studios a lot. I wasn't fat. I wasn't a obese kid. I gained the obesity a few years ago when I was put on medication. So I did taekwondo, worked taekwondo, church stuff. It was busy. And then 9/11 happened, and about a year went by, and I couldn't get a job. So I joined the Army, not because of 9/11, but because of I didn't want to have college debt. I couldn't land a job to save my life. So I joined the Army right after a year after 9/11, 2002. Maybe 6 months. In May, when it happened, 9, 10, 11, 12, January, February, March, April, May. What is that? That's 8 months. 7 to 8 months. After 9/11, I was in the Army. I And my aunt died 3 days before I went to MEPS. I went to basic training, so I had to go up to Virginia to bury my aunt. I'm part Irish. When I was in Germany, an Irish friend of mine got a job at Apple. He got guaranteed a good life, and for me, the army was supposed to be a guarantee of a good life. We lived middle class, but I didn't have a job, so I wasn't going to be living middle class in Orlando. So the army was a guarantee of a standard of living that is higher than the average, even though you qualify for welfare in the military. They still provide a high standard of living. So my aunt died, and then I went to basic training, and Patty's father died moments after after he got the job for Apple in Ireland. So it's a thing. It's a thing amongst maybe the Celtic people that if you come into good happenstance, there's a familial sacrifice. It's a thing. It's too coincidental to be coincident. It's there's some kind of blood sacrifice, living sacrifice for people that are set aside for other reasons, and they get out of that lifestyle. So I went to basic training, went to did the in processing, sat in the bay. Then the next day we went and had our footprint done, our teeth imprints, and all kinds of stuff. And I think we had shots, and we're given a speech on how to wear our socks and shoes, just basic stuff. Then I went to get a haircut. No, then I went to basic training. And we were marched a day or two after from basic training bays by the drill sergeants up to the shop head to get our hair cut. And I got a very powerful right in the back of my head, right where my skull curves and my neck is straight. Big dig. And I was bleeding. So he just packed it full of talcum powder, finished the haircut, and one of the Mexican, I think he was Mexican, platoon member said, "You've been tagged in, bro. You've been tagged in." He said he had to be in a gang fight, and they cut the back of his brainstem with a razor blade after he fought his way in. He won, so they took a razor blade and sliced it. He showed me the scar. Not allowed to have stitches. So a few days later, a bloody clump of talcum powder came out, and the drill sergeant was like, "What is this?" I said, "Can I just have some more talcum powder? It hurts." Then went to Germany to the army. My platoon was infantry mortar. My platoon couldn't take me, so I was put in with tankers and deployed to Kosovo peacekeeping mission. And while I was in Kosovo, America invaded Iraq. And I remember watching it on the news and the song Gotta Have Faith blasting over the speakers. And someone said, "Why is it every time you come in the room, that song comes on?" And I was like, "Oh, there was a lot of coincidences in Orlando. I'd walk in the room and the TV channel would change to music that nobody else listened to. So I learned a lot of West Coast rap, the history of East Coast and West Coast rap. Watched every Victoria's Secret show. It would just turn on the TV, would change the channel. Every Victoria's Secret show when I was a teenager. All the Mr. Olympia, IFBB, pro bodybuilding competitions, those came on. I didn't watch TV like the typical person watched TV. I'd turn on the TV and I would go to the channel that the TV wanted me to have. And I would just sit there and watch. I would zone out and just observe information. Then we got dial-up internet, and whenever I went on the internet, Heidi Klum and Daisy Van Hayden appeared on the screen. Zajammins, which I believe was predictive programming that I would be moving to Germany, and that it would be appealing to me. So, in basic training, I was given choices to where to go, and they said you get Italy or Germany, but you're too tall for Italy, so you're going to Germany. Something like that. So I did the 9-month peacekeeping deployment to Kosovo. Then re-entered my platoon towards the end of that deployment, the infantry platoon. And from there, went back to Germany, deployed to Iraq. Turned out to be a 15-month deployment with time in Kosovo, Kuwait, cleaning vehicles. Then went back to Germany. I met who would be my wife, Sam's Fairy Dust. And she didn't have any interest in the military lifestyle or moving to America. So I decided to go full Dances with Wolves and go full Dances with Wolves and live with the Germans. And the first job I had was private security at the soccer stadium in Nuremberg. And the soccer fans were ultras. I was like, that's funny, I'm an MK. And they were like, yeah, du musst the ultras handeln. You must handle the ultras. I was an MK. So the ultra fans are insane. They sneak chains, brass knuckles, alcohol, whatever you can imagine, into the fireworks, into the stadium. Then throw stuff at the security all through the match, and I had fun. Yelling at them, and tackling them, and stuff like that. Whenever I get a haircut, they would give me a high and tight, just like I was still in the military, and I'd get a razor blade to the back of the neck, close enough that it would bleed to reanimate or uh, regenerate blood flow and activity to the brainstem. Consistently, I was famous for having bloody back of the neck after a haircut in Nuremberg. The way they do it on NCIS, Gibbs head taps back of the nose's neck. And that's enough. But the Germans braucht eine Garantie. So the CIA came up with MK Ultra in order to entrance America. There's an operation called Entrancing America. And pretty much to open up their minds, get them more loosey-goosey, easygoing, compliant with change, because the only constant in life is change, and if you can't assess, adapt, and overcome and comply to change, then you'll be destined to be left behind in an arcane way of thinking and a old world mindset. So I understand why they did it. I understand why the CIA did it. But the program was, I think, originally founded by Nazis, and the CIA researched it. So when in Germany someone says "see schau," seeing means to absorb, to take control of, or to see, to give godlike powers, or Control Z. Control U, control letter C, number 33. See schau. Yeah. We'll talk about the elect next time. This is 23 minutes so far. So thanks for watching.